to the channel. Welcome back to the Great Outdoors. And we are in the outdoors today. Welcome to southern Wisconsin. We're on Lake Elizabeth. And today we're doing a 1 year or 1 season review of my new Lund 1875 crossover XS. Before we get started, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps the channel out. And we're going to go backwards to some video footage I took hooking the boat up. We're going to do the exterior of the boat, show you guys the colors, show you guys some of the things I've done on the outside. And we'll come back here, we'll do the inside of the boat. We're going to start off here on the exterior. Now for Lund, this 1875 actually measures 18 foot 10 inches and has a 95-inch beam. It's very much a 19-foot boat, and it's really slotted somewhere between an impact and either a Pro V or a Tyee, depending on what you're looking at. Certainly has a lot of Tyee DNA in it, you know, with the wide gunnels and the high freeboard and, you know, some of the features that it has inside. Now, a couple years ago in 2021, Lund did a mild refresh. So you have a 2020 earlier. It's still very much the same boat, but a couple of minor things that they updated, and I think they really improved. One of those things is the color combination. So as you can see, this has a red freeboard and a black gunnel and black bottom, and it has a charcoal graphics on it. But you can get blue, you can get white, and you can do a blue freeboard with a white gunnel and, you know, blue or charcoal graphics, you know, what have you, right? The only color I think that Lund's really missing is probably a really, you know, nice looking hunter green or something. I think that would look really sharp. You can also get the raised 3D logos here. Now, I actually did these myself. I thought this looked really, really sharp. It was inexpensive to get from my dealer. I actually have a video, and I'm going to have a few video references below. I'll put those links in the description as I call them out. Basically, it really gives it a nice Tyee look. And you can get it ordered from the factory this way, or you can do it yourself after the fact like I did. Coming to the back end, we've got a Mercury Pro XS 150. Max horsepower on this is 175. Had I had the option of ordering this, no, I got this from the showroom floor, I probably would have ordered the 175 just for max horsepower. It's really a matter of maybe 2 miles an hour or so, so not a big deal, but it's about $3,000 more, so something to consider. You know, this Pro XS 50 does really, really well. Good hole shot. We're gonna have some time here in the water a little bit later in the video. You guys can see that. Top speed, I've been able to get about 48.5 miles per hour, which is pretty good. I run the Mercury Tempest Plus stainless. This is a 19 pitch prop. I am debating maybe going to a 21, maybe, so I can get that 50 mile an hour. I'm gonna have another prop video I'm gonna put out here in a little bit that shows the difference between this prop and a few other ones that I did. I'll put that link below in the description as well. As far as a trailer, this is Lund's custom trailer is what they call it. Quite honestly, it's really, really sharp. I really love the diamond plating they put on it. It certainly costs a little bit more. Lund, whether you get this trailer or another trailer that they have, you know, a little more simpler wheels on it, their standard trailer, they do put this Lund guard coating on here. It's like a Rhino liner or a Linux, depending on where you're at in the country. It's like a truck bed liner. Helps against the you know, the rock chips and things like that. When you get the custom trailer, you get the swing away tongue, although you can get this in other trailers as well. Basically, I should say it's a shoreland'r trailer. You saw the connection hook up earlier in the video. It's actually got a nice spot to put the tether for the trailer lights actually built into it, which is really nice. Comes with a spare tire, and of course your dolly there. As we saw a moment ago, it also has your built-in tie downs here, so you don't need to get extra ones. Built right into the trailer, does a pretty good job. Now obviously this one has a tandem axle. Now, like I mentioned a moment ago, I bought this off the showroom floor. I didn't order it. I just had the opportunity to buy the boat earlier. Didn't want to wait. At that point in time, the dealer was talking about, you know, 7 or 8 months to get a boat ordered in, and availability was not great. They only had a few Lunds left on the showroom floor. Supply chain issues were, you know, they still are a problem, right? So the dealer normally carries a few different trailers on hand, but because this is what they had left, this is what they had left. Now, I like it more than I don't like it. Now, obviously it looks really, really nice. You got these really cool mag wheels on here. It handles on the road very, very well. You get a little more peace of mind that, you know, if you put a little extra weight in here, you know, it'll take the weight. And that, you know, if you have a blowout, you know, even though I have a spare tire, you still got more tires in a trailer. You know, you can get to point A to point B without having to deal with it, or, you know, whatever that looks like for you. Again, it rides really nice. I think in a downside is if I want to move this in the garage, and before I had this boat, I had a Rebel XS, which was, you know, it's a bigger Rebel, but still Rebel, with the regular standard, you know, single axle. And I was able to, by hand, you know, take it and move it in the garage. You know, winter months, I put the boat on one side so I could park a vehicle on the other side. Yeah, you're not doing that with a tandem axle. You can move 3, you know, one axle, one wheel on either side, plus, you know, a little wheel in the front. You're not doing it with 5. It doesn't move. So you either got to park it, you know, and in my case, it's a really, really tight fit along the wall here to get it, you know, within a few inches of there, you know, just to store it in the winter months. I might have to do that with my yard tractor. I got another video that I did. Again, I'll put that link in the description below. Hooking up a ball mount to a yard tractor, and I'm going to see in a little while if I can actually move this boat with that yard tractor. It might just be a little too big, but we'll find that out. So, you know, moving it by hand, yeah, not so much, right? That's one of the downsides of it. And of course, you know, at some point, you know, tires need to get replaced. You know, they don't last forever, so you have a little bit of a higher expense. But overall, ride-wise, appearance-wise, I think it's fantastic. I should also mention that this has a surge brake built into it, and so it has one axle I believe it's disc brakes. Here's a quick shot of the other side. That's the dealer I bought this from. And, you know, they were okay. If you look closely, you can see my first couple of little dings and dents and stuff like this, just because we got a few hours on there already. But overall, she held up the season really, really well. I do run a Transom Saver. Now, the local lake for me, just past that tree line, so you know it's only a mile away for the launch, not a big deal. But I do travel up to Canada a couple times a year, you know, 600 miles round, 600 miles one way, 1,200 miles round trip. And, you know, it's a lot of time on the road. So I do run a Transom Saver, like I said, just to kind of give the, you know, the motor a little extra support and not beating the hell out of this transom. I should mention that a Lund changed just a couple of years ago. This is a composite transom. You know, they got rid of the wood. Now there's wood in a few other parts of the boat, the deck, a little bit here in the sides and stuff like that. I've seen that as going through the boat. But they did update the transoms to be composite, so they should last a bit longer. Another thing that I do is I add this black license plate bracket, you know, between the mount here and the license plate there. Now this is really meant to be put on the back of a car or something like that, but really what it's for is it's metal and it's got some rigidity to it. And I find that if you don't put some kind of metal back here, whether it's just some stock of some sort, or in this case this bracket that I got, you will eventually run over some rocks, and they will hit said license plate. And I've arrived at locations and I found my plate's not up and down like this, it's kind of like that, right? And so this is to help prevent your license plate from getting mangled. I'm going to give you guys an idea what she looks like getting up on plane as well as she's riding on plane. Just at a low idle right now. I've got a little bit of headwind, so I'm sure I'm going to get some wind noise, and I probably won't get her quite up to 48, 49 miles an hour like I've done before. I bet you I'm 46, 47. But just to give you guys an idea what she looks like. So here we go. We're going to start here on the back of the boat. Just like all of Lund's XS models, you have a aft casting platform as well as some jump seats. In my particular case, I did opt for these aft deck cushions. Now these are great because they snap in and snap out. When we're at our local sandbar here in Lake Elizabeth, the wife and the daughter, they like getting on here and laying out in the sun, and it gets a little toasty in the summertime, which is kind of nice. Speaking of sandbars, there's a boarding ladder that's tucked away back here telescopes down, ducks out of the way so you're not tripping on it, and then you got a grab handle here. As far as the jump seats, they do work with these aft cushions. They just slide just like you see there. There's one on both sides. And you get a bit of storage underneath here. So in my case, I've got a couple of toolboxes there filled with some different things. Now this is part of the Livo. We'll show that here in just a second. Same thing on this side. Although I will say when you slide this back, you may want to pull this up and then lift it because it'll hit that grab handle back there. Crank battery, and again, it just has some tools and extra extension cord for charging and things like that. Now, like I said, these just snap in and snap out. So when we're out at the sandbar, just kind of cruising around, I have those in. If I'm fishing, I take all this out, right? And it's a casting platform and place to lay fish and do what you got to do, as well as get to this massive live well. Aerated, timed. It goes all the way underneath like we saw a moment ago. There's a divider in here, which I have out at the moment. You can do that if you have a separate species. Comes with a little bait net. If you want to put a bait bucket in there, although I'm not sure what you'd use it for, but it comes with it. So that's this. You also have a seat pedestal there and a pylon ski pole base. And you also can get to at least the pylon portion of it with the aft cushion here. Now you can't get to the seat base here. And again, you're only really using that for fishing if you have this on snap there. A couple of drink holders back here. Now I went through and all my drink holders, the ones back here as well as the ones here in the front and the one at the helm, upgraded those to stainless steel instead of the black plastic ones that come with it. I think it's a much nicer look. It kind of gives it that tie kind of a look to it. And just be careful in the size you get if you do this upgrade. The bigger sizes don't fit in there. You got to kind of tap them in there, and you may split and crack this guy down here. So be real careful if you do this upgrade. But it looks really, really nice. Also in the back is this little stowaway or hideaway compartment, and you can access it by this latch right here. And you'll have your sport top if you opt for one, and I'll show a still of that here in just a moment. As well as some storage for your ski pylon, which we showed just a moment ago. It goes up there in the top if you're pulling a skier. Moving to the middle of the boat, you have a spot for 4 seat pedestals. 2 are in, 2 I have, but I just don't have in the boat at the moment because I don't need them at the moment. There's a total of 6 in the boat. The 4 you see here, one in the bow we'll take a look at in a moment, and the one we just saw here in the back. I've also opted for the marine mat. Now you get a choice of just a basic, vinyl floor. You can see part of it through there by the latch and around the seat bases. You can get a snap-in carpet, which is really, really nice, and it'll match the carpet pretty closely up the front there and what you see here in the back and the sides. Or this really awesome heavy-duty marine mat. Now, we're in October, at least at the time of filming this. It's maybe in the mid-60s, but I got a little sun. It keeps this mat really, really nice and warm. It's comfortable out in your bare feet. It's pretty thick and durable. If I can get my fingers underneath here. And it's got some texture underneath here. I know you can't see it. Keeps it from sliding around. And I think it just looks really, really cool. And of course, you got the Lund and you got the crossover there built into it. Storage on either side under the gunnels. I've got life jackets on one side and then just extra ropes and bumpers on this side. And then there's this awesome in-floor storage here. Now, I've got all my fishing stuff in here with some of the tackle trays and ruler and tools and stuff like this. This is big enough to put a bunch of rods in here. It goes all the way up to the front underneath the rod locker. I've got 3 full bags with Plano 3700 style or 370, depending on what brand you have there, trays, and it's just full of it, as well as some room to put, you know, other tools like you can see here. It's got a gas strut, so it stays open, doesn't move around on you. On the passenger side, I've got these upgraded captain's chairs. You can get the regular Pro Ride chairs. I have those in the other spots here, but these are really nice. They're really comfortable. They redid these here. I think for 2021 and newer, they took the armrests out and opted for just bigger bolsters here, and it's really comfortable. The armrests don't get in the way. I've seen some guys take the armrests out and put plugs in them and stuff like that. Don't need to mess with them. These are really, really nice. We've got the under console storage units here, or drawers. They do slide a little bit on this mat, but not too bad. And of course, Lund's known for their massive glove box storages here. And they got more, not for tackle, but just more of these Plano trays in here just for different things. And, you know, there's room for 4 in there. I could probably put another 4 in there. Looks like we got some skiers or tubers out there having a good time. So sorry for the noise, but we're out in the lake having a good time. Center rod locker. Now, the old style, or the previous generation, I should say, crossovers would only give you 5 rods in here. It would only come up this high unless you took that bow deck extension out. With this new design they did in 2021, and of course carrying over to 22 and 23, you can lift this all the way up. And there's room in there for 10 rods, dual struts. Now, I don't have any rods in here at the moment. I just got some gear in here. But there's also a spot for, in my case, a 3-bank battery charger. So 1 for the crank and 2 for the trolling batteries. Oh, and I should also mention that this, like I said, this deck here extends into this area here. So if you got something really, really long, there's a spot here to put that. Before I forget, there's actually a 12-volt back here. Now it's buried a little bit, but you can plug in another USB device for your phone or something, keep it tucked up out of the way. Moving over to the helm, we got the same captain's chair that's here. It's really nice, really comfortable. It's air ride, so it takes the waves pretty well. Now I have a little bit of a custom deal here. And again, I'll put that link below, just like the other times I mentioned it earlier in the video. This is a Helix 15. Now, when I bought the boat, this had regular analog gauges here, just like the regular crossover. And, you know, we put the Helix 15 here on a balls out mount. And it just took up this entire area here. I mean, it was just, well, it's a 15. It's ridiculous, right? And so what I did is I took the analog gauges out, and I will show the back of it here. And I kind of did this custom deal right here and mounted my Helix 15 here. And, you know, it works really, really well. I am probably going to do a part 2 to that install video because I think I can improve this design a little bit. But it's really not going anywhere. It's mounted really, really well. I use stainless hardware and, you know, 1/4-inch piece of aluminum here. I just have it wired in really, really nice. And, you know, plenty of room to move your hands around and turn the wheel. And, oh, there's our tubers there. And, you know, there's actually a lot of room to see above this thing, which is part of the reason why I moved it where it is, to, you know, have good visibility when you're driving. Again, when I had this here, I couldn't see anything through this part of the boat. I mean, it was just big. So when you're figuring out your electronics for your crossover, a Helix 15 will fit, but just know it's going to take up a bit of real estate unless you do something special like I did here. I may be asking, okay, well, what about speed? What about RPMs? What about fuel? So I run Mercury Vessel View Mobile, and I usually put it here, and I forgot my other camera, so I can't show you. I'll put a still right there. What I like about the Mercury Vessel View Mobile is that it'll give you your speed. You can get your speed here. Your RPMs as well as your fuel, and in real time as well. Now the fuel is calculated, but it's pretty accurate, I find. I'm usually within a couple tenths of a gallon. This particular boat's got a 35-gallon fuel tank in it. On the far end, it might be about a gallon off, but usually favorable. So it tells you have less gas than you actually have, which is okay. But hey, even without being off a couple percent like that, it's still way more accurate than the analog fuel gauge that you'd have here. That doesn't tell you anything. It says your fuel somewhere in the middle maybe, or empty, whether you got fuel or not. So I do like the Mercury app, even though it's maybe 3-4% off sometimes. It's still really, really good. There's a really nice cubby here. This is where I keep my Altera iPilot Link remote. Works with my Helix. You've got your switch panel, includes master power, a really nice AM/FM Bluetooth stereo. This particular one has a 4-speaker system in it. There's 2 there in the front. We'll get to the front here in just a moment. And there's 2 in the back. One here, and this one shows a little better in the sunlight. One there. Additionally, I installed a 2-way radio to my favorite channel, and just a good safety thing to have on the boat. You also have a couple of power sources here, your normal 12-volt round, as well as a couple of USB ports. Moving up to the bow. Like I mentioned before, we have this bow deck extension. I have it kind of kicked up here because we just had the rod locker open, but this actually comes out. You can take it out, and it has a little bungee here, which I don't have connected at the moment. And if you have these bow cushions on here, and I believe that's standard now, 2022 and newer, you have a spot for passengers to sit up here and be comfortable, whether they're laying out or just a spot to put their feet. Obviously, you see the the seat pedestal base. Now these snap in, so they come out. Just a second here, and then you have storage on both sides. In my case, this particular one's all my safety gear, so first aid and safety equipment like a flare gun, bilge, or bail bucket rather, fire extinguisher, extra life jackets. I keep all this stuff in this one. And on the other side, it has the exact same thing. I just kept extra ropes and chains and things like that, anchors. Oh, I should also mention, before I forget, on either side is your troll battery. So there's a battery here on this side and a battery on the other side. Tucked away in here, which is kind of nice because it's not in the way, but you can get to it, is the plug for your charging system. And in my case, I came up with this little bracket here to mount my 2-way radio antenna. And I just used some of the old style Lund fender mounts here. And what's kind of cool about this is I can loosen these up, and I can move this really wherever I want. And when I'm traveling long distance and I don't want this to cut into the travel cover, I can take this off, completely, right? With just these 2 little, I think these are 10 mil, I forgot what I used, with, basically quarter 20s on there. And, drop it down here so it's out of the way, and, I'm not messing up that travel cover, like I said. And here's what the front capstan deck looks like with the cushions out. Got this extra platform here, put it back in. Seat base to, I have a bicycle seat I'll put up here, but you could put a regular seat up here as well. Plenty of room. Should also mention there's these bolsters back here, so when you do have the cushions back here, your riders have something comfortable to put their backs on. I am running the Minn Kota Altera. 24 volt, 80 pound thrust, and I think it's a 60-inch shaft. And I use the iPilot Link. This thing's great, and a couple touches of a button there, you can deploy it just like that. You can also, of course, use it to engage and steer faster and slower. It's got spot lock. And of course you can retract it. I can't tell you how many times this thing has saved my butt over the last season fishing, because I'll be up against some rocks, I'll be using the big motor, I'll be trolling or what have you, and you get a nice bass or walleye or something, because sometimes they're in the rocks, and I can quickly deploy this. I can move it away from the rocks, I can spot lock it so I can stay where I'm at. I can worry about the fish and not worry about the fish and the boat. So this is fantastic. Lund also has this really cool sport track system. It's basically a plate, and you can mount your rod holders or what have you in it. This particular one's got a beer holder in it. And you can move them anywhere in the boat. Just lift up on this. You can take it out, or you can slide it back and forth. Really, really awesome. Now, everyone's kind of got their own proprietary system, but this one works, extremely well. Basically, it just has a little piece there that moves back and forth into the track. And I'm doing this one-handed, right? Holding the camera. Easy peasy. Alright guys, you saw the clip there. We actually just broke a record, for me at least, in this boat, and that was over 49 miles an hour. I'll have to go back and see exactly what it was, because if you could tell, the camera was shaking a little bit. We're pushing the boat pretty hard over a little bit of wind and chop, nothing crazy. And but if you want to know how fast this will go, with a 150 Pro XS Tempest Plus stainless 19-pitch prop, you can get, if the conditions are right, over 49 miles an hour. Now, it's just me in the boat, but about 3/4 of a tank of gas. All my gear, minus some fishing rods, so all my fishing gear's in here, all my normal stuff's in here. So, if I didn't have maybe some of this stuff, could I do 50? Maybe, but now you guys know. Alright guys, that's pretty much it for the boat. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. If you have questions, just reach out to me. I do my best to answer them as best as I can, on YouTube and Facebook and stuff like that. Am I happy after a season with the boat? Yes, it's been a fantastic boat. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but I did 3 weeks up on Rainy Lake on the Ontario side. Rainy Lake's a big lake, it's got some big water and stuff like that. It's not Great Lakes, but it's big. And it's the 18th largest lake in North America. And you take out some of the monsters like the Great Lakes and Lake Armstrong, Lake Winnipeg, things like that. It's in the top 10. It's a big lake. The boat did fantastic. Caught a ton of fish. It's super fishable. Takes big water. You can get in the shallows with it at the same time, and fish for smallies and stuff like that. And it's been a really, really good boat. So I'm going to enjoy the rest of this October, what's left of this sunny day, because the days are getting shorter and shorter and the weather's not too bad. And thanks for watching the video. Like I said, like and subscribe, helps the channel out, and we'll see you soon.